Hi, folks. Welcome back to Curtis Goes Corner. GOP poised to flip 4 House seats in California, more than any other state. California. The results show a dramatic reversal from the 2018 midterms when Southern California Republican House seats all flipped. If you remember that one, there were 2 or 3 of them, maybe even 4 of them, that were called by all the major networks because the Republican was so far ahead. And then all of a sudden, all these absentee ballots and harvested ballots just appeared out of nowhere. Things they make you go, Well, guess what? We're back. Despite Democrats' confident predictions of a blue wave sweeping state houses in the November election, the final results show that almost nothing had changed. Well, yeah, it got worse for them. Yet in California, a Democrat stronghold, a little more than Democrat stronghold. Republicans are poised to flip more House seats than any other state. You know what's sad? I know it's funny. People hate change, which is ironic and a little interesting because we are the most adaptable species on the planet, but we hate change. But anyway, people see, like in California, they see their major cities, San Francisco, LA, other places, they see their incredible taxes and the ridiculous regulations and rules just slowly destroying, many have said, was the best state in the country. Easily. 40s, 50s, 60s. And then the progressives and the leftists came in. And the original liberal Democrats. If you remember, it wasn't that long ago. 40 years is not that long ago. 45 years, whatever it comes out, that Ronald Reagan was governor of California. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger was. He was technically a Republican, but we won't go there. What I'm trying to say is that people don't like change. Even if they see that their state's going to crap, they really don't like voting out incumbents, people they know. They don't like unknown change. And it takes a lot. It takes to really hit the crapper in order for people to say enough's enough. And I think this is what's going on here. And it's going to go on in other states across the union. As the new 2020 census totals come in and redistricting starts, the mostly liberal Democrat states are going to lose population. In my case, I live in upstate New York. We'll probably lose 2, I believe, in New York. Hopefully, it'll be 1 upstate, 1 downstate. I'd love to have 2 downstate, but that's not going to happen. And they're just going to get more of a bloodbath in 2 years. It's just the way it is. California's going to lose quite a few. Texas is going to pick up a few. And a few of the Sunbelt states are going to pick up a few. And the tide is slowly turning. And I think it's turning and it's not turning back. I think the Democrats are doomed, at least for the next generation, even if they got it together today. But I digress, as usual. The results have shown a significant reversal in the 2018 midterms, which has marked by a rabid anti-Trump furor. I'm not sure about rabid. That helped Democrat flip 7 seats. Now the GOP is on the verge of taking back 4 of those seats. Young Kim took back California's 39th district from Democrats after incumbent Representative Gil Cisneros flipped the normally Republican district in the 2018 blue wave. I love the caption on this picture. Sunshine shines on the U.S. Capitol building. I hope the sun shines on this country again. We're still there, but we're having a really hard time. American people will see what's going on, and with God's help, we can get us back on track. In the Republican stronghold of Orange County, Michelle Steele took back California 48th district after the unprecedented 2018 victory of Democrat Harley Arruda, another one with the absentee ballots and the emergency ballots flooded in after the election and the harvested ballots. But they couldn't make it this time. California 21st, which includes Fresno and Kern counties, looks set to return to the GOP after David Valado, I'm sure I butchered that, was projected this week to reclaim the seat he lost to Republican T.J. Cox in 2018. Republican U.S. Representative Mike Garcia declared victory last Friday in the state's 25th congressional district. The seat of former GOP stronghold that spanned parts of Los Angeles and Ventura counties was flipped blue by Democrat Katie Hill in 2018, but she resigned from Congress last year over a nude photo scandal. The final results are expected to be announced later this week. Well, a nude photo, if it's done tastefully. I had a little joke there. This is a really class press release by Mark Garcia. After a long, tough fight, I am proud to earn the privilege of serving California's 25th for another 2 years. With only a few remaining ballots to be counted, victory is clear. A tip of the hat to Christy Smith, that's his opponent, who ran an excellent and aggressive campaign. Running these elections is difficult, and she did it with grace. I extend this compliment to all 18 opponents I faced in the last 12 months who are also compelled to serve with hopes to represent this beautiful district. I am honored by the supporters who voted for me and humbled by those who did not. In the end, I will work hard for each and every one of you and for our nation. That's a class statement. Democrats, they should photocopy this out and give it to all the progressives and leftist mental pygmies in Congress. This is how a person acts when they win. They don't act like poor winners, which is actually way worse than poor losers. Very nice, Mr. Garcia. I'm impressed. So how do the Republicans manage to make gains in such a solidly blue state, despite confident predictions to the contrary? For California Republican Chairwoman Jessica Malin Patterson, GOP gains in the Golden States reflect California's disillusionment with years of Democrat failed policies. Democrat and progressive failed policies are even worse. Californians are ready for some change, Patterson told Fox News in an interview. California Democrats have to own every single failed policy here in California. Yeah, it's a one-party state and hugely out percentage one-party state in their assembly and their Senate. Whether it's affordability, homelessness, of K-12 education, they have shown every single one of those failures. And I think time and time again they have shown, particularly Governor Newsom, how out of touch they are with working Californians. Yeah, the few that are left. Why is it funny in all these progressive leftist states, they always complain about the wage gap, that the people at the top make so much more than the people at the bottom. When it's their states, they have the biggest gaps. Isn't that interesting? Who cares if a guy's a billionaire? Who cares? It's what you do with the people down below, how they're making out. Just because somebody's doing incredibly well doesn't mean everybody else is in a crapper. You can go all across the country and see that, but not in the progressive blue states. People are fed up and sick and tired of every single new regulation and just out-of-touch policy they have tried to put forward in these communities. We have talked about it. We talked about their failures, where and what California Republican solutions are, she said. A person who worked on both the campaigns of Mike Garcia and Michelle Steele attributed their wins to a message of lower taxation and less regulation, which put them at odds with what is coming out of Sacramento. I think when you have good candidates with a good message of lower taxes and fighting tax hikes, things like that, saying I don't support defunding the police. That was also kind of the background of both of these races. I think when you have good candidates with a good fiscal message, that plays anywhere. Well, unfortunately not everywhere, but most places. And it shows that when you have that, you can be outspent 2, 3, 4 to 1 and still win at the end of the day. So Democrats have ultimately retained control of the House. Their losses pointed to a potential GOP-controlled House in 2022. Yeah, they have to say potential because nobody can see the future. But a potential foothold in a state where it may have been sidelined for decades. It's not potential. The Democrats are doomed. They're going to get wiped out in the House. Wiped out in the House. It's going to be a bloodbath worse than Newt Gingrich took the House in the contract with America. It's going to make it look like a joke. Well, there's one consolation. Nancy Pelosi only has 2 years left, and she's done. Praise Jesus for that. Here in California, we've been the poster child for failed radical left socialist agenda. Well, that's an amazing statement and incredibly accurate. And we don't want this to happen to the rest of the country, Patterson said. We're doing our best to fix things here in California. And I think that if you haven't already, you should take another look at the California Republican Party. Good for you. Good for you. It's the seats that Republican before had lost, so they went right back. And I'm telling you, I think there's 11 now. 11 flip seats. And the same year, the Republican lost the presidency. I really haven't checked it out, but I can't think of an incumbent president that lost whose party gained quite a few seats in the House of Representatives. And I'm hoping and praying. Look at a pretty thick carpet for that kind of praying, but I'm praying that the Republicans can get at least one seat in Georgia. 2 would be great. That was my prediction, by the way, 52-48. So we'll see how lucky or smart I am, depending how you look at it. But those of us conservative people that are really, really brokenhearted, but it looks like the presidential election is going to turn out. It's not technically legal yet, but it looks pretty bad. We'll see how it plays out. It's one guy described it on YouTube as a lottery ticket chance. And it's sad, but the American people did do one thing right, and that is put a lot more Republicans in the House. I don't like one-party rule for a long time, especially if it's a Democrat. Well, you're saying, well, John, you're a Republican. Your view is biased. I'll take, given a choice between a 10-year one-party rule, progressive Democrat, House, Senate, and presidency, I will take a Republican conservative president, House, and Senate for 10 years every single time. They're not perfect, but they're way better. What I'm hoping is going to happen is they control the Senate and they just stop this agenda that's coming. Unfortunately, the immigration stuff they're not going to be able to stop from the Senate. And that's the problem with executive orders that President Trump signed. They're not legislation, so they can turn them over in 5 seconds. And that's always the danger with executive orders. But he had to do what he had to do, and he did a lot of those. So, folks, I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I think tactically the Democrats were brilliant in this presidential year. They took advantage of a pandemic with COVID-19. They bent and twisted the rules, and even up to the last minute to Election Day, considered mail-ins. What a cluster blank that is, or it still is. And I'm hoping that it's so bad that the normal American people, the middle-of-the-road American people that aren't diehard red or aren't diehard blue, going like, come on, guys, this is stupid. We need to fix this. We can't let this ever happen again. So there is some light, and I guess that's fortuitous that the picture here, the sunlight shines on the U.S. Capitol building. And I'm hoping, as time passes, that the sun shines a lot more on this country. And I see it coming, and I'm very optimistic, even though I'm kind of heartbroken. I'm a big Trump supporter, and I'll never be ashamed, embarrassed, or even hide the fact that I am. And there's going to be tens of millions more that are going to be just like me. And we're going to see what happens. So until next time, folks, goodbye and good luck.